here we go again.
On our show. And yes, Vaush, I think you're garbage. I think you're trash. Found a lot of interesting things about what you had to say about the transgender community. Tried to scrub the internet of those videos. I found them. I'm really curious why you thought it was okay to say the kinds of things about them that you did, including the fact that you think that they have mental illness, they're struggling with mental illness, that's what this is about, they're the most toxic people on the internet. I've got the receipts. I'm ready to show them. But calling me a bitch.
Particularly the LGBT community is cancerous as fuck. If you're not an idiot, you will agree with me on this. If you have any fucking experience.
I want to say that on multiple occasions, I have said that at some point in time that faction over there would eventually fracture. And obviously the person who is doing the most amount of fracturing, or at least in the eyes of the online left, is Ana Kasparian. Now guys, this right here is going to be a relatively lengthy video, so make sure you guys stick around. I'm not here to really and truly beat up on both sides or anything. I'm just here to kind of explain to you why it is that this is happening, as I've done in the past few videos when it came to Ana. I think that what's happening, of course, is the fact that, Ana has been opening her eyes a lot recently. Now, guys, the thing is this right here, and I've been saying this for a long time, and I'll continue to say this and call it out wherever I go, but let's just go ahead and be honest. Debates, especially online debates at this moment in time, are pointless and stupid because so many people have actually had those debates, and they really and truly don't change anybody's minds. Also, to go on top of that, the left has gotten it in their, they've gotten it inside them that it's not about exchanging ideas, it's about aggravating, trying to get a point across. It's about winning the debate. It's about optics, not about actually exchanging ideas or plans or anything like that. And now, of course, it's obviously a purity test. By the way, purity tests do, in fact, exist on the right as well. I just figured I'd go ahead and throw that out there so that way you guys know that I'm not being completely unfair to the two individuals here. But I've done a lot of videos recently on Ana Kasparian and how it is that she seems to be pulling herself a little bit more towards the center on certain issues. But trust me, she is still very, very much on the left. Now, before I go any further and before I actually explain this little spat and show you guys what's actually going on, I want to go ahead and let you guys know right now that there will be a video in the description box that a guy by the name of the Aristocratic Utensil, he used to go by the name Spoon on the platform, he made an extremely good eye-opening point about Ana and Ana's situation. I'll be leaving that in the description box, and I highly advise you guys watch it, but I'll definitely be alluding to some of it here. But I do advise you guys watch that full video. Now, with that right there out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about it. The other night, Ana Kasparian, she decided to aim her guns at Vaush, and of course there's been a little bit of a Twitter spat going on. Now, Vaush, if you guys don't know who he is a breadtube content creator, one of the most fringe of the fringe, at least as far as I am concerned. His ideas are pretty, I mean, look, the guy calls himself a libertarian socialist, all right? I have never seen a bigger contradiction in my life. I don't think I have to go too far in here, but he's definitely been very, very much a part of this whole grift that involves, well, I got to actually roll the word across the screen rather than actually saying it because YouTube has this thing about giving you the yellow dollar sign if you say certain words. Don't worry, I'll start posting a Rumble again here soon. But the thing is this here. It's always been a great big giant grift. It's always been an extremely dangerous grift. I mean, think about it really quick. When Tim Pool decided to have his conversation the other night, a while back with Lance from the Surfs, who, by the way, Ana has gone after before as well, and of course she had rights to do so. Of course, Tim had the comment that he felt that it was actually, in fact, there was actually a trans genocide. Now, he said that because he believed that what was going on was that he felt that in content creators like Lance, like all the rest of the online left, Vaush in particular, were encouraging people to basically go ahead and end their line to have children later on in the future. I mean, think about it really quick. If you're a man and then you suddenly become a woman due to a surgical procedure, guess what? You're not having kids again. It's just not going to happen. It's one of the great sad things. And of course, Ana does say some things that I actually disagree with here as well, which is actually kind of funny because there are parts of what Vaush actually said before he decided to scrub all this information that, believe it or not, actually made a little bit of sense. But it's funny to talk about because, quite frankly, it's Vaush. Let's go ahead and roll this.
Tells people that he thinks highly of bitches and the R word. Is that what he does? That's what he does?
Yeah, he's got a curious way of showing that high regard, but feels justified in informing his audience that he disagrees and was shocked by the response he got for Ana.
Listen, I think Vaush is trash, okay? And if you actually genuinely do watch Vaush on a regular basis, you also know he's trash, which makes me wonder, why do you keep writing into us, urging us to have that trash on our show? And yes, Vaush, I think you're garbage. I think you're trash. Found a lot of interesting things about what you had to say about the transgender community. Tried to scrub the internet of those videos. I found them. I'm really curious why you thought it was okay to say the kinds of things about them that you did, including the fact that you think that they have mental illness, they're struggling with mental illness, that's what this is about, they're the most toxic people on the internet. I've got the receipts. I'm ready to show them. But calling me a bitch turf because I just don't think that it's, politically advantageous to refer to women as birthing people or people with a uterus, that's terrible. I can't do that. But you can say some of the most disgusting things about the transgender community and then pretend like you have the moral high ground? You're garbage, Vaush. I don't respect you, which is why I don't want to talk to you. It's that simple.
Yeah, okay. So look, guys, the thing I can't stand is when people say crazy, horrible things about us and they go, why are you grabbing me? Why are you grabbing me?
Attention, he wants it so bad. Congratulations, Vaush, you got the attention you so desperately want. You're trash. That's what I think of you.
I really love how Ana just kept on saying you're trash, you're garbage. I really love how she did that. It kind of reminds me of that whole thing where she told everybody that she thought that that she was better than them, all that type of stuff there. I'm going to let Sean Fitzgerald do that one because he's probably the best at that. He's got the specialized voice type thing. But still at the same time, though, it's really funny that she's talking about this stuff that I showed you guys at the very beginning. Now, before I go any further and give you guys some full commentary on this, let me go ahead and show you exactly what was really said in the clip that Ana was talking about.
Community online, particularly the LGBT community, is cancerous as fuck. If you're not an idiot, you will agree with me on this. If you have any fucking experience with online like LGBT or leftist discourse, you know it's cancerous as fuck. You understand this. People are hyper fragile. There's a ton of mental illness. And you can't convert these people. They're not reasonable. They have to be excised from the left.
Obviously does not sound like the Vaush of today. I mean, this is the same guy who made comparisons of certain acts that were not as bad to having child pornography on you, or having being into that sort of thing. It's one of the main reasons why it is that, quite frankly, I just can't listen to that guy. I mean, there's not that many voices on the left that I can listen to without getting upset or being, how do I say, annoyed. There's just just a bunch of nonsense, very cheap, lazy tactics. And of course, if you guys have ever seen him debate anybody, he constantly just interrupts and aggravates people like crazy, which is very, very funny because we'll be talking about Jink here in a second. The thing is this right here. It's one great big giant grift. Hassan Piker, Jink's nephew. He lives in Southern California. He's a multi-millionaire preaching socialism. He is a champagne socialist. He spouts out socialist talking points like crazy, but yet he lives in an extremely large mansion and he complains about not getting enough money or losing money or ad revenue. It's a great big giant grift. Same thing with Vaush. Vaush talks about this, but yet he does this from a suburban neighborhood, which, by the way, he was raised in Beverly Hills in a suburban neighborhood in a very, very well-off family. Ana, too, also was raised in a pretty well-off environment. I mean, she's the daughter of Armenian immigrants, and of course, she works with a guy who, quite frankly, denies the Armenian genocide. That right should tell you exactly how wacky these people are. Ana, of course, has come around on certain issues. Like, for example, she's been labeled a TERF because she does not like the term birthing person. She does not like the way the left is treating women. As a matter of fact, they had this whole entire weird conversation a while back on why is it the left is not attracting men. Well, you keep calling men toxic. You keep giving them very, very bad names. You keep calling them the R word. I'm not talking about the one that starts with the R and the E. I'm talking about the one that starts with the R and the A. You keep calling them the type of stuff. After a while, men are going to gravitate towards the right as a result. It's because these people have created such very, very large echo chambers, which, by the way, after a while become smaller and smaller and smaller because more and more people realize that their ideas are absolutely loony. And Ana kind of proved that just now when she said you called these people, you said these people had mental disorders. I hate to tell you this, but general dysphoria, well, I can't really say it out loud, but it's definitely viewed as one of those types of disorders. I mean, think about it. I mean, but here's the thing, though. Before I go too much further, I think we need to be helping people who, quite frankly, have that disorder. We shouldn't be transitioning them or anything. We should be actually helping them out. Give them therapy, let them go to a psychiatrist, get them spiritual help, that type of thing right there. Bring them to God. Yes, I'm coming off as the traditional conservative Christian, but quite frankly, I think that the left's biggest problem is that because they don't believe in God, they don't find themselves being held to account. They don't find themselves wanting to be held accountable, which I'm pretty sure most people understand. You don't want to have to face consequences of your actions. But still at the same time, though, when you don't have something there in place to hold you accountable, after a while this type of crap occurs. Now, I can already hear somebody in the comment section saying, well, you're talking about God as if to say he's this thing that quite frankly holds people accountable, which by the way he does, but you're only using this because you yourself don't really believe in him because you have to have him there to hold. No. I do in fact believe in God, and I think that there's one of the biggest reasons why it is that the left, quite frankly, is as loony as it is. They reject God outright because, quite frankly, God in their eyes is just somebody who's going to hold them accountable, and they, quite frankly, don't want to hold themselves accountable. So what have they been doing over the years? They've been holding themselves less and less and less accountable, and now we've got the craziness of the world. I mean, these people the other day were talking about, what was it, glory holes? I mean, I got this right from the liberal hive mind, but make sure you guys pay attention all the way through, because I'm going to leave the full clip in there and not mention that video in the description box. Make sure you guys pay attention.
By cervical cancer charity, Ana Kasparian said, hey, maybe this is a little bit crazy. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Maybe it's going to hurt us politically. And the response was, well, pretty much J.K. Rowling treatment. Public enemy number one. Obviously, we were going to land here at some point. You know, there's some people who jumped off early, like Dave Rubin, for instance, who saw the craziness. I mean, he saw the writing on the wall, and he decided to exit early. And then some people were gonna go along for the ride for a while, you know? Stick it out. All the crazy stuff that Republicans are pointing out on the left is exaggerated. It's not really happening. Then they realized, oh shit. It's really happening. And now here we are. She's explicitly calling out Vaush, saying you are trash, and essentially calling him a grifter. Funnily enough, Ana Kasparian said something recently about Cenk Uyghur's nephew, Hassan, essentially promoting a similar message, not to the same extent, I don't think there's bad blood in the same way, but essentially calling him a grifter, indirectly.
It's funny because, you know, a lot of them LARP is like anti-capitalist, like revolutionaries or whatever.
LARP, okay, interesting.
About Cenk Uyghur's nephew, Hassan, essentially promoting a similar message, not to the same extent, I don't think there's bad blood in the same way, but essentially calling him a grifter, indirectly.
It's funny because, you know, a lot of them LARP is like anti-capitalist, like revolutionaries or whatever.
LARP, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it's true. And so it's really funny because what they do is they are positioning themselves to attract a very specific niche in audiences, right? So they're going for the purists, the people who like to think of themselves as like far left, communist, socialist, whatever. But like the whole thing is, I mean, you can see it in the various streams. Like they'll talk about things through the lens of we're the most pure, like we're the most sincere in what we're saying, whatever.
The real left,
like,
yeah.
Exactly, we're the real left. So when they do that, what ends up happening is they become more and more extreme in what they are saying, right? In what they claim to believe. And at the heart of that, like what they're actually doing is trying to attract a niche audience for what? To make money.
It seems to me that what happened is that Ana is starting to see this. She is starting to see that the left is absolutely a bunch of crazies, a bunch of loons. Which brings me to that video that I mentioned earlier about the aristocratic utensil, or the video from him. The aristocratic utensil, Spoon, very, very good channel, by the way, is a guy from South Africa. He has a bit of an English accent, or maybe it's a South African accent. It definitely sounds English, but he's a very, very smart guy, very witty, very funny. He pointed out that Ana Kasparian was not really and truly a leftist. It sounds crazy. It really and truly does sound crazy. It seems to me like maybe what happened was that Ana got up with some people, maybe got in with the wrong amount of people, and they went ahead and shaped her worldview before she actually created a worldview on her own. And what's happened is that she is seeing how the left is actually eating itself, and she's noticed that it's a great big giant grift. Look, Vaush, the minute he got, I think it was 100,000 subscribers, he was out on Twitter talking about thanking everybody, exactly how much success he had. Look, you're not going to achieve that unless you're in a capitalistic society. These people don't seem to realize exactly how good they have it. They've been using capitalism, by the way, to further their messaging. And I think a lot of people are starting to see that they're not really and truly leftists, but just good old-fashioned. Obviously, what you guys saw earlier with the clip with Vaush is that she's actually pointing out the fact that you have used this and you've had these feelings before and probably still harbor these same exact feelings. Now, me personally, I just told you guys exactly what I think should happen. I think what should happen is that when it comes to the trans, we should be giving therapy. We should be going out of our way to help these people before they decide to make a decision that, quite frankly, will ruin their life and their existence going further. I get labeled as anti-trans, but the reality is this right here. It's not so much that there. I'm anti not helping somebody out who quite frankly needs help, but they need the right type of help. Don't just sit there and give them puberty blockers or whatever and transes them out and go ahead and basically end any possibility of them having a fulfilling life. I don't know if you guys know this, but the self-deletion rate in that community is extremely high. I've been noticing this for a long time, that the great big giant leftist socialist grift has only done more to hurt that community. It's actually alienated that community, and it quite frankly has made people dislike them. I hate to use this right here, but Blair White, for example, who by the way is also a transist, has also said that most of these individuals want to, for the most part, be left alone. They don't want the issue brought to light in the way they've been doing it, and they don't want it actually overblown because they understand the consequences. As I have said when it comes to the whole race war thing, the only thing you are doing is creating more hatred. It's all media driven. That's just what the hell it is. I think you guys need to quite frankly stop it. But obviously, the more and more you look at, the more and more you see a bit of an agenda. And I think that Ana is starting to see that a lot of these people are, like I just said, good old-fashioned grifters. Think about it. Bonus hole, glory hole, Latinx. Does anybody use these terms? Does anybody actually care about these terms? It's just a great big giant grift for views, because at the end of the day, the vast majority of these leftists are really just capitalists going under the socialist grift. Sad. Actually, it's not sad, because in reality, it's exactly what myself and many content creators on the right, the center right, and even the center left have been saying about these people. I mean, dude, Alan Dershowitz, classical liberal, very left-wing type, civil libertarian type, definitely on the left, continues to vote Democrat. Even after defending Trump during the impeachment, he went out there and voted for Joe Biden anyways. Now he's all of a sudden right-wing. Think about that. Hey guys, don't think I was going to end this video without talking about Jink.
It's like, well, I'm just calling you guys the R word and then stuff. But why are you attacking me? Okay, so guys, it's not just about Vaush. To all the criers out there who say horrible things about us, and then when we tweak you back, I don't need your stupid tears. Go away, okay? So fine, you like, I mean, what am I gonna, like, look, I'm willing to talk to almost anybody. So you want to debate, what are we gonna debate? What are we gonna debate? Your positions are not consistent. So am I debating the Vaush that hates trans people, or the Vaush pretending to love trans people?
I don't know
who I'm debating.
What's hot right now online?
Okay, where's the money? Where's the money?
Yeah.
Oh, have I got you to talk about it?
In a lot of ways, Jink, you kind of created this nightmare. All right, and this was what I was ultimately trying to get to. The fact of the matter is this right here. People like Jink, people like Vaush, people like Destiny, all those guys. Destiny, by the way, I think has done a bit of a course correction on a lot of this, but still at the same time, though, I still don't agree with anything he says. The fact of the matter is this right here. These people created this nonsense through their grip. They created all this craziness. And it's very possible that what's going on is that Jink and Ana are trying to both pull themselves back to the center. Ana more so than Jink, because obviously Ana is beginning to get upset seeing how it is that the reality on the ground is much different than what the hell they've been preaching. I mean, this is the same person who called out the crime problem. This is also the same person. This, by the way, she called out the crime problem after being very much in favor of the policies that were being instituted in these very large cities. This is the same person who, quite frankly, went along with the trends is the grift, but yet then turned right back around and noticed that once actual women were being attacked, she decided to change her position, that she got called a TERF. This is the same person who, by the way, is getting attacked for saying certain buzzwords like, say, the N-word in joke forms. And, of course, even when reading the actual transcripts that they're trying to read to give you the story, she's getting attacked for that right there. She's starting to see that the left is, in fact, very much a cult. There's also this nice little thing about this when Ben Shapiro, when I debated Ben Shapiro, he did not treat me like crap. And yet Vaush, of course, apparently he got upset about this, even though he himself actually went on a podcast with Tim Pool and debated Charlie Kirk and really got exposed much further. Really quick, going back to debates, you see, Jink talks about this and the way he's actually poked and prodded, or if he says something to these people, they get upset. Bro, you kind of created that. You kind of created that nightmare on your own. And I think that some of these leftists are starting to wake up and realize that they were played by Jink and Ana. It just so happens to be that Ana's position or Ana's transition more towards the center or more towards sanity, it seems to be a little bit more genuine. Where Jink has always been a bit of a zealot, but then again, at the same time, I've always believed that Jink was a bit of a bad actor. This is the same guy who goes on and tells people that he won his debate with Ben Shapiro, and I'm not a fan of Ben Shapiro. I really and truly am not. The squeaky voice and everything, I'm just not a fan of him. But he believes he actually won that debate when in reality he got his butt completely stomped. You guys can go watch that debate. It's absolutely hilarious. It's created this thing where, quite frankly, we cannot have a conversation. I want to go back to Vaush really quick before I shut this video down, okay? And I can already tell you right now, I'm probably going to see some Vaush fanboys in here, and that's okay. You can come over and say whatever you want. But I want to tell you right now, there's only very, very few people who've actually been able to debate him and get a word in edgewise. There was a guy by the name of T-Jump actually was able to beat him. Count Dankula, surprisingly, who I think Vaush absolutely underestimated, did not seem to realize that while he is a comedian, Dankula has also been in the political sphere in his native Scotland. He was able to handle him very well as well. A lot of people have been able to handle that, but I think at the end of the day, the constant interruptions, the constant pretending to be smart when in reality you're not, that type of stuff turns people off. I think it was the channel Demonetized, but now it's the channel Demonetized. It was ran by Short Fat Otaku. It was a video that was made on Vaush. Is Vaush bad? Of course, that was made by Doomer Politics, and then another guy by the name of Mentis Wave actually described it absolutely perfectly. He is a guy who pretends to be smart that in reality is not as smart as he claims to be. The Charlie Kirk debate absolutely exposed a lot of him and a lot of his weaknesses. That's the point of the fact of the matter is this right here. These people are not good faith. They are very, very bad faith, and I think Anna is starting to see that within her own side. However, the question is how much further will she go towards the center? Will she stay? Will she stay right there on the left? I've been predicting for a while that eventually she's going to get a great big giant red pill. And it is very, very possible that this right here could have been it. Now that she's starting to see the leftist influencers that these people have, quite frankly, helped radicalize and actually platform, and she's starting to see all the things that were being said before today, and now she's starting to see that it's a great big giant grift, and quite frankly, some of these influencers probably use TYT as a big part of their grift. Blame Jink for this. That's who I blame for this. That is exactly who I blame for this. But guys, I'm not really somebody who comes out here and just bashes TYT and gives you every single little detail about TYT. I, for the most part, believe it's just comedy, and quite frankly, it shouldn't be taken serious. I mean, you always have that crazy person down the road that says these very, very crazy things that, quite frankly, you find hilarious. That right there is what TYT is, in my honest opinion. But at the same time, though, you guys can see that obviously when somebody from your own side starts exposing you, things obviously do come out, and people eventually are going to be able to see it. As I've said before, this movement would eventually fracture, and I believe that it's actually Ana Kasparian who right now is driving the chisel in the ground much, much further. So, yeah, I just figured I'd go ahead and point that out for today. Now, guys, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, share the video, sound off in the comment section. Please hit the notifications bell. I do expect some fanboys to come in the comment section, so SJWs, once again, piss off.